Many times when we're moving towards a goal and then something gets in the way and we don't get it, that we fall flat on our face, it can be really soul crushing. It can be really difficult to go, okay, what happened there? And get yourself back up. I mean, how do you move forward? What do you do? And what I want to explore here is there a greater purpose that's happening? Is there greater reasons that you don't understand that are serving you? Because if you have that approach, it can really make your life much easier.
Welcome to Share.care, an all-inclusive community sharing experience, strength, and hope to create strong, healthy, and inspiring relationships. Share.care communities work toward every individual feeling safe, valued, and heard, free from the threat of danger, pain, or harm. Each episode, founder Damian Andrews explores the principles underpinning Share.care and invites expert special guests to share their knowledge so you can easily reap the benefits so many others experience. You hold the choice to create your future. Let it be with strong, healthy, and inspiring relationships.
Hello and welcome to an On the Couch episode of the Share.care podcast. Our belief is that global peace starts at home. Feeling safe, valued, and heard gives you a foundation to confidently step out and make the world a happier and safer place for everyone. Because in today's world, it's in your own selfish best interest to help others. What happens when we don't achieve our goal? What's going on? What's really happening in there? And I want to talk about that from the perspective of understanding, is it in your own best interest? Sometimes what might seem like something that's really amazing and right there in front of you, but then it doesn't pan out, and you go, well, what does that mean? What happens there? And why does it happen? Why didn't you get what you wanted to get? And the reason I'm talking about that is, well, I want to use an example from my history where I wanted to work in corporate recovery. I was studying commerce, and I can't remember why I really wanted that. I don't know what the motivation was. There was no. I know it was to do with business. I'd always liked business. I do wonder if maybe I'd watched Pretty Woman too many times, because corporate recovery is about taking over companies, and sometimes you break them up, sometimes you sell them off, which is kind of like what Richard Gere did in that movie. So maybe I was a bit starstruck by that. I'm not really sure why I wanted to do that, but I did. And so I was looking for jobs in corporate recovery and did a bit of research, and I found a firm that looked really cool. And I didn't know much about the industry itself, all the different companies and that. I just, it just seemed to be where I wanted to be. And so this company looked really good. It had a great office. Looking on the website and their all the stuff I could find about it, they presented themselves very well. So that was the firm I wanted to work for, and they'd sent out not an application. They were looking for employees, and so I responded to that, and I got an interview, which was really cool. I was excited about that, and I prepared. I had everything sorted out. I had rehearsed my interview. How I was going to add benefit to the firm. I talked about that. How I was going to be. Not what just the firm could give me, but what I could give the firm, what my long-term career was, all those standard things that you go through when looking for a job. So I was really pumped up about that. Got on my suit and I went to the office. At the time, I was a little bit early, waiting in the waiting room. Very nice, very plush, beautiful waiting room. And I went into the interview feeling really confident about it. I was quite confident I was going to nail this. And I went in, I did the interview, and I answered all the questions they asked me. I was polite, friendly. I thought I projected myself very well. I thought I showed the value very well, and I walked out of there feeling really good, really good. It was like, okay, I've nailed this. I've got this job. So I've gone home feeling great. I didn't open the bottle of champagne straight away because I thought, I'd be getting a little bit ahead of myself. But even though I felt like doing it, I thought it would be really cool. But a couple of days later, I got the phone call, and they said who it was, and I got really excited and going, "Cool, this is going to be great." And they said, "Yeah, just to let you know, you didn't get the position." And I was like, "What? What?" I was literally shocked. I was so certain I was going to get this job, and yeah, so I was shocked. And I was thinking about that, and I went into a kind of a little bit of a wasn't depression, but I went out and got drunk. It wasn't, it was like, oh, what is going on? And I spent a few days sulking around, moping. I think I binge watched some TV, if I remember correctly. Stayed in my underwear for till late in the afternoon after getting up. It just wasn't in a great state. But I was like, because I was so certain I was going to get this job. And anyway, so I've had my period of feeling sorry for myself and not feeling great about what I was doing, and I thought, okay, let's move on. And so I picked myself up again, and okay, let's all right. Want to work in corporate recovery? Keep looking, and I did. I kept looking, and then I found another job for another company that similar type of company. It wasn't as flash. They didn't, the office, it was a little bit smaller firm. It didn't seem to be, it was nice, but it didn't, at that time, it didn't project that well. And, but it was, okay, all right. And so it looked okay. So I've applied for the job. I've got an interview, which is great. And I've turned up, but I wasn't, I certainly wasn't as cocky as the first time. Well, I wasn't cocky in the interview, but cocky with myself. um, I was a little bit more cautious about, I'm thinking, all right, I'm probably, maybe I won't get this job. I'm just going to go in there, do my best, and see what happens, and take it as it comes. And so I've gone in there, I've done an interview, and I've looked at it. I felt pretty good about it. I thought I did okay. I wasn't sure. Obviously, when I was sure, I didn't get it, and so this time I'm like, oh, am I going to get it? Am I not going to get it? I'm not sure. I don't know. And I remember riding home on the train, and I'm thinking about all the things I could have said. And then thinking, oh no, I remember one of the partners that interviewed me was talking about golf, and there's a couple of things I thought about after. Oh, I should have said this about that, and about the golf, and I had a couple of little stories to tell, but I didn't, and I started to go through this process of going, oh, I haven't done very well, and I started beating myself up a little bit, that I missed and could have done better, which, we've all done that. And I've got other podcasts that you've probably listened to about, how to reframe that. But, or if you haven't listened to them, they're there for you to listen to. And so I've gone home and I've still got the bottle of champagne, mind you. I haven't opened that. And yeah, I've kind of moved on, and I was still looking for other. I thought, oh, I'll keep looking. You never know what might else be there. And I was looking, and a couple of days later, I got a phone call, and I got the job, which is really cool. I was like, oh, this is exciting, and so that was really, it was great that I got the job. And this is not a story about persistence of keeping trying, because I mean, yes, you've heard all that before. This is about what could have been, and when something doesn't go your way. Because what I didn't know, and it was difficult to tell without being in the industry, because the insolvency industry was pretty small. And the thing was, reputations matter, to a degree. Well, they do matter, but where you can, especially as a young person, I wasn't that young, I was a mature age student when I studied commerce, but um, it does, the character side of reputation matters, and what people perceive your character to be matters. And from that perspective, as I found out within that industry, the firm the firm that I got a job with, the two partners that run that firm, they were from uh, a large practice, accounting practice that they had worked in insolvency. It was a national firm with international affiliation, so that they came from that background. And they had a very, very good reputation. They were very well regarded, and they cared a lot about looking after people, about developing them well, about doing the right thing for the client. That they were extremely well regarded. So it was quite good from that perspective. That working for them, I was well regarded, as instantly well regarded because of that association. And they had a lot of connections with banks and other big companies, that kind of thing. So these people that I was meeting, I was immediately getting uh, that reputation by association, good character, operating well, do the right thing, that kind of thing, which is who I am. So that was a good connection. As it turned out, the firm that I didn't get the job with, so the one that I was, I went for the interview and I'm all psyched up that I really wanted because I had this plush office and all this kind of stuff. Turns out they weren't well regarded. They were actually known as dodgy brothers and not doing the right things, which was an interesting thing because hindsight's always 2020. You can see so many different things. Now I didn't know that at the time. They just, to me, they look good because I was on the outside looking in. From the inside, looking around, this firm was not that great. Now, had I got that job, all those people that I would have met after that, I would have had that reputation. I would have been tainted with that reputation. I would have been thought of as dodgy as well. That I'm not operating from good character level just by that association. And that was where it was really eye-opening when I think back about that story. And that's part of the reason for relaying this here is you never know. There's many times in my life where I look where I haven't got things that I didn't that I really wanted. There are many goals that and I look at you even look at sometimes you look at it and go, well, people that you've met and what would have happened if those kind of things. But that is the question: what would have happened if? Would it have turned out? Would it have been good for you? Would it have been really not so good? You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what that chain of events could lead to. That's what's really important to think about when something doesn't go your way. A great way of thinking about it is to think about it anything that happens, you want to think about it in a way that serves you. And to think about an event where you've tried hard for this and it hasn't happened, something's gone wrong, something's got in the way, and you go like I said, getting a job, you didn't get the job. How do you know that that's not you didn't get the job because that could have been really detrimental to you? And it's not something you'll ever know because we don't. I mean, yeah, if you watch Marvel and you've got all the multiverses and stuff like that, but you don't know what that multiverse is. So that's a side issue. You only know what is now, and what it is you didn't get that job. So it's like, okay, rather than beating yourself up, I spent a number of days being upset about that back then. And this was years and years ago that I did that. Today, if I don't get something, if something doesn't go my way, I don't even worry about whether wishing that it had been different or whatever, because I can't change that. All I can do is move forward. It's like, well, that didn't happen. There is a reason for that. Maybe it's a reason I need to be more skillful. That's one reason. But maybe it's also too that the universe is looking after you, whichever whether it's divine intervention, if you believe that, or just the way the world works. That if you believe good things attract good things. I certainly believe I'm a good person, and when something doesn't go my way, it's like, well, okay, what is it that's I don't need to know. I just believe that it's happened for a reason. I don't waste time getting upset about it. I don't waste time worrying about it. I just go, okay, that didn't work. What can I do now? What next step can I take? And that's really served me well because I've talked about this before, but I don't get upset. I don't get angry. I don't well, I don't get angry. I don't. When I say don't get angry, I sometimes I get angry and I show people that I'm angry, but it's not that I'm angry inside. It's for a purpose. It can be a tool to motivate people and get their attention, and then there's a whole thing on that in my negotiation magic course that we take people through, a source of power as to how you adjust emotions and also deal with people that don't control their emotions. And you can do that as a pace and lead, for example. It's a great one where someone's angry. You can actually match their anger, and then you calm down, and it's interesting how they will calm down as well. But that's a whole different story. But from the perspective of, when things don't go your way, it's always important to understand maybe there's a bigger picture here. Maybe there's things that are going on that you're being protected from, that it's looking after you. And I'm not saying you have to have that way of thinking, but certainly from my perspective, I've found thinking that way has really been beneficial to me, because when something doesn't go my way, I can just immediately reset. So I don't have to go through this process like I did with that job and mope around for days and all that kind of thing. It's just like, okay, that didn't happen. What can I do now? And I immediately move forward. So just be mindful that when things don't go your way, maybe there's something bigger out there that's looking after you.
Thank you for being part of the Share.Care community and helping people around the world prosper. You're creating a bigger pie for everyone to share. The more people contributing to the world being a better place, the better the world becomes, for others and for you.